I tried literally every single Game Boy Color games ever released officially so far. There are like 915 games launched officially for the Game Boy Color. And all of these live streams were happen on Twitch and YouTube live streams, the vertical live streams, you know. You guys can check out the VODs and see how it went. And let me tell you, man, this Game Boy Color games looks awesome, I would say. Little bit of the Game Gear and of course the Game Boy and little bit of NES mixed all together. And it has like the 8 megahertz CPU which runs super fluid. The sprites, the animations, the colors and the music, it sounds super awesome. And it's one of the, you know, like the flagship 8-bit handheld device you can ever come across. In this video, we're going to take a look at 10 graphically impressive Game Boy Color games that everybody should check it out. But wait, I'm getting a call from this Australian guy, you know, he's a wet wipes man. So let's answer his call.
Subscribe to Sinistubborn because he's the king. And kings need wet wipes.
So yeah. Also guys, you guys can also join my Discord as well. There's a Discord link right there if anybody wants to participate or something. And whatever. Let's freaking start it, I guess. There are many versions of this game, starting from GameCube to PlayStation 2. But this Game Boy Color version is quite surprising to me. The colors, the textures and soundtrack, which kinda sound like Game Gear here and there, but it just looks super lovely. The level designs are quite resembling the feeling like you are playing the Rayman 2 game. In fact, a lot of people say that this game is just retextured version of Rayman 2, but I don't agree with that completely. This is a Disney game, which is actually the best game you can ever play on this console. The levels are perfectly designed and difficulty of this game is completely alright. I think anyone can beat this game in just one sitting. I swear to God I'm not promoting child pornography. No, I'm not. But this game is Kirkow is based on the Kirkow the Sorceress, the French TV show. Of course this game was released in Europe only. Man, I feel lucky now that Europe can save me cause they have very strict laws, I guess. In this game, you're basically the African kid going around and exploring African villages, environments and avoiding traps, solving small puzzles and stealthily avoiding enemies. Your objective in this game is to go around and rescue villagers and outsmart the evil sorceress Karaba while exploring various levels inspired by the traditional African setting. The colors reflect perfectly well for the hardware and the music is super fantastic too. I highly recommend this game. I was really surprised to see this game being released on the Game Boy Color. I think Metal Gear Solid was launched on PlayStation 1 and at the time the handhelds were mostly 8-bit availability. But let me tell you that this port is masterpiece. This fluid animations, sharp tile work, diverse indoor and outdoor scenes, high quality pixel portraits during the codec calls, which is mind-blowing for the console. This game features the best cinematic style effects you can ever find on the 8-bit console and probably the best port of the Metal Gear Solid I would ever say, you know. Do try this game out if you like the MSX ones. I played this game on this console and my first reaction was quite mind-blowing. I mean, look at these mechanics. The colors, the style of the gameplay makes me feel like I'm playing Max Payne on Game Boy Color. The environments are pretty detailed and animations are super smooth. Explosions, blood effects and lighting tricks all show the Rare pushed this Game Boy Color very hard. I personally like this game very much and I don't recommend to all of my friends who will kinda dig this type of the games, you know, the shooting and killing things, you know. This game was officially released in PC Engine and this Game Boy Color version remained only in Japan. While I was playing this game, a lot of people told me that am I playing cartoon game or something? But the visuals of this 8-bit game is quite colorful. This is probably the best shmup game you can ever play in this system so far. Bosses and levels having whimsical fantasy style art standing out from the generic shooters. Best shmup game you can ever play if you're into this type of this stuff. Probably way better than the Gradius and Parodius series, I guess. You know, try this game out. This is basically the whole Super Nintendo game, which was the 16-bit console and its graphics being ported to the Game Boy Color. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are large, well-animated characters for the Game Boy Color standards. Levels like jungle mines, snow, and underwater stages are visually distinctive and very detailed on a tiny 160 by 144 screen. I actually prefer this version because I can just lie down and game, you know. A perfect Looney Tunes game on the Game Boy Color. The animations of Daffy Duck perfectly resembles how his body language feels from the show. The colors are super strong and bright to match the complete Looney Tunes feel. The great thing about this game that this game is developed by Sunsoft and it's pretty underrated. I mean, I don't think so I have to explain what Sunsoft did back then, right? And whatever the Sunsoft creates, it's one of the best things they ever create, I guess, you know. I think Sunsoft did a really good job making this game, I guess. Thank you so much, Sunsoft, for gifting us something good in freaking Game Boy Color, you know. This might be the most underrated Zelda game, and I've not seen a lot of people talking about this game at all. Most people just say 24/7 playing Ocarina of Time and that, you know, the Ocarina. I'm sick of that, honestly. I think this game has the better level design and the colors and sprite layering are super awesome in this game. And the animations have such a lot of detail. The worth of this game is 1,000 times better, and I think so I highly recommend this Zelda game. You know, just try something new, you know, guys. Come on, stop chasing those algorithms. Wendy Every Which Way pushes the Game Boy Color to its visual limits with bright, magical worlds and fluid animations. The game features rare parallax scrolling, giving it surprising depth to the 8-bit platformer. Spell effects and gravity flips are smooth and stylish, adding flair to every screen. It's one of the most polished and visually vibrant games on this system so far, and one of the best games ever on Game Boy Color. I highly recommend this game. Please do try it out. Shantae is undisputed visual champion on the Game Boy Color. It features huge, fluidity animated sprites and vibrant backgrounds, and rich color usage rarely seen on the 8-bit hardware. Parallax scrolling, dynamic lighting effects, and expressive character designs making every screen pop. It looks and moves like 16-bit game, and somehow fits inside the Game Boy cartridge. I mean Game Boy Color cartridge, you know. Top tier game on the Game Boy Color. And I kinda like Shantae, you know, romantically I was speaking. Everybody just sims for, you know, Tifa and all that. But I think Shantae and her midribs are one of the best, I guess. You know, she's hot. That's it from my side, guys. If you have reached so far, then hit the like button over there. And if you have any recommendations or anything to say, just comment down below over there. I reply to every single comments in this channel. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night.